Jordan, welcome to Spark TV. I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you for having me.
So good. Let's start out by telling everybody who you are and what you do.
Cool. So I'm Jordan. I own Hartley Health Meal Prep Company, which is a holistic meal prep company that we do 90% whole foods, gas, additive, and preservative free. And we're really passionate about just sustainability and providing really holistic, healthy meals to people at this current period in time.
I love that. We were just saying, and I was just expressing how some days, being a woman in business, I struggle to feed myself
That's,
and my husband. So this is amazing. I'm very into this, especially being healthy, because I feel like, the quick stuff is often the crap stuff. You know,
yeah.
it's easy to grab a 2-minute noodles over something healthy. How did
Yeah.
this start? How did you get into it?
So my background is in chefing. I've been a chef
Oh,
yeah,
cool.
like 15 years or something like that.
Yep.
And fine dining all the way just was like, I'm going to be a famous fine dining chef. Everyone's going to know me. But as life happens, I hurt my back when I was about
Mm.
22. So did the whole like London thing, did all the Michelin star restaurants, was like, this is my dream, and then hurt my back and was like, oh,
Oh,
okay.
crap. New dream. Need a new dream.
What happens now? So when I hurt my back, I kind of just was like, I still want to be a chef. But then I also kind of moved away from like working in kitchens as much, just because it was like really hard to do the chefing hours that are required, which is like, minimum 60 hours a week.
Mm.
And I got into health and fitness, and then I was suddenly like, okay, health and fitness, my mental health is getting better. I understand food is fuel. And I sort of just started piecing the pictures together, um,
Mm.
of like, I guess what health meant to me and what wellness meant to me. And then I sort of went to a health food cafe, and it wasn't a health food cafe. They were like,
Mm.
using canola oil and stuff like that. And I was like, this isn't right. Like, being my 22-year-old self, I was like, can you give me the direction of your business, please?
I love it. I love it.
They were like, bye, see ya. Like,
Yeah, please leave our premises.
so that's where I was like, oh, there's a gap in the market for personalized meal prep. So we don't have the normal meal prep company. Ours is very like personalized, where we create and tailor meals, a lot of like dietaries. So that's sort
Mm.
of what came about, where I was like, oh, I can make this a whole business, and I want to be in people's houses. And then I just one day quit and like sold all my belongings and said, I'm just going to start this.
Oh my God, I am so impressed. I love that so much. So okay, so talk me through it. Do you actually physically go into people's houses or can you buy online? Like talk me through the actual logistics.
Yeah, so you can buy online. We have a couple of different packages available. And with two of the packages, you would require a consult with us. So you
Oh.
can buy your standard package of like, low calorie or balanced, and that's where we just cook for you. But we have a real, I guess, fantastic relationship with practitioners. So if you're someone that has like dietary needs, or
Mm.
there's a lot of elimination diets happening at the moment. There's a lot of like gluten-free and dairy-free, and people wanting specifically calories and macros, like their meals cooked to that.
Yeah,
Uh, so rather than you trying to fit our meals into your day, we fit the meals like into your food instead. So you do
that's
a
cool.
consult with us. Yeah, you do that. You do a consult. We've got it pretty down pat now, where like you don't necessarily have to talk to us. You can put your dietaries and everything in. Uh,
Mhm.
and then we create meal plans. So it's pretty unique in the sense that we range like from a, average price point to like a very high price point, depending on what your needs are. And then we cater to a lot of like, I guess, specialty clients. That's where our main sort of jam is.
That's so cool. And what about taste? I have this thing at the moment where I'm like, I have to find meals that I actually enjoy eating that are good for me. I don't want to sit down and eat carrot sticks, even though I know that they're really good for me. So I'm obsessed at the moment with finding meals that I love that are super healthy. So can
Yeah.
you, can you be fussy?
Yeah. So we have exclusion lists where you like if you're someone that has like particular needs and you can't have coriander, like of course you can set.
Ah, goodness.
Yeah, so we do that. And then in regards to taste, our big thing is creating those gas-free holistic meals. So like
What does that mean? What's gas free?
oh, it's gonna blow your mind.
Oh my God, do it, do it. You said
Bas-
it before, and I was like, I've got to circle back and ask you what that means.
So basically like all food that you buy from like a supermarket that's in that plastic packaging,
Yeah.
even if it was like another meal prep company with those plastic film lids or like, eggs from Coles with those lids,
Mm.
there's two gas mix. So in the CO2 gas mix, there's a mix of like six different mixtures to like extend the shelf life so it can last for 2+ weeks.
Oh no.
It's really like when you find that out, it's like, what are you eating?
What
Like,
am I eating? Yeah. Holy crap. That's gross.
yeah. I mean, it doesn't like, don't get me wrong, I would eat Macca's for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
But and I would drink a wine, no problem. But if you're consistently buying day in, day out meal prep, that's
Mm.
like scary if you don't know that that's happening.
Yeah, and I guess it's like balance, right? I mean, if you're 80% of the time looking after yourself, really conscious of all of those things, then maybe the Maccas or the wine doesn't matter
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah,
It's kind of when the wine and the Maccas is every day that it's a problem.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So in regards to taste, I think this is like quite biased because it's my company, but I think ours tastes like amazingly fresh, and unique compared to the other companies because we deliver like twice a week and that menu is always fresh,
Mm,
where it's not in those like extra sealed packages.
wow. So does that mean this is super local? Like, where do you deliver to?
We do all of Sydney and also Newcastle as well.
Wow, awesome. Okay, so I need to move to Sydney. This is good.
Yeah, I would have sent you some if you were close by.
Yeah. No, I'm over the other side of the country. Damn it. I'll have to fly you over here to cook for me and sort me out. Oh, that is so amazing. So, how was the process for you, like setting up the business? So, obviously, you were used to working for other people, like in the chef kind of environments. How did you go from, stuff it, I'm going to sell all my belongings and start this? Like, what was that process like?
Um, Kind of freeing, if I like can remember correctly from the age of like 20, I'm nearly 30, so this was sort of 22, 23. I started it. I kind of just like was like, fuck it when I was that age. Like you
Yeah.
don't really have any responsibility. Like I lived in a share house and
The time to do it, isn't it?
I lived in a share house. I was very wild. So I was sort of like, whatever. Um, And I also, being a chef, I don't know if you've had any experiences with chefs or anything like that, but
They're
we're pretty,
usually crazy. That's what I know.
yeah, like we can be pretty crazy, but we also don't really like being told what to do. So generally,
Hmm.
the drive for working for yourself as a chef, in many ways, is really positive because you will like make it work and make
Yes.
it happen. There's also a lot of like negative things to that.
Well, I guess that's why there are a lot of restaurants that are like chef owned.
Yeah,
I guess that's kind of if you think about, obviously the food at a restaurant has to be amazing. And if it's like that person is like leading the charge,
yeah.
it kind of goes, to show that it would be a good place.
Yeah, yeah. It's we definitely are unique in many ways with our work ethic. I've got a lot of friends that are chefs and they're in similar industries or do similar things to me, and we
Mm.
all kind of sometimes struggle to understand why people don't work as hard as us. But I think it's like a chef mentality that we have.
I was literally just thinking like what a breed of people to be amazing business owners because you're so right. The hours you have to do chefing and usually the like when you first started talking and you're like, the dream was to be the everyone knows me, Michelin starred, like rah, rah, rah. It's like the drive that you need for that is kind of the when you think about business owners, we often label them crazy and delusional because we have this like focus, this I'm going to work every hour of the day to make my dream a reality. So the crossover is super interesting.
Yeah, it's I was having a conversation with a friend about it, and it's sometimes like hard for people to get. And we sometimes have to rein ourselves back because I mean, in an ideal world, you're sipping cocktails on the beach, right? But when you're in it,
Please. I'll let you know when that happens.
Yeah, as a chef, it can be challenging in many ways. Like that would be,
Mhm.
I wouldn't want to paint a picture for people to say like, oh, you know, business is all easy breezy, but definitely with the chefing hat on the side, can be a bit full on sometimes for us.
Yeah, totally. Oh, it's kind of cool that you already had that experience before starting a business, you know? I
Yeah,
think
I'm so glad. Like a chef, two chefs called in sick today, so I had to cook. So, like, if I didn't know how to cook, like that would be a problem, right?
yeah, totally. And I think some people start a business thinking that it's going to be like freedom. And they go from a 9 to 5 job and they think if I start a business, I get to work my own hours, I get to do this, I get to do that. And they don't really realize all of the things like when people working for call in sick, you have to do it, all
Yeah.
those little things where coming from a chef background, you're already used to working long hours, being under pressure. You kind of have a really nice foundation for going into business.
Yes, we do. I'm like trying to personally move away from that foundation and be like, let's get into it and not work so crazy, but it
Yeah.
is what it is.
I know, and hopefully there are seasons, right? Where yes, sometimes it's a little bit hectic, but other times you're like, okay, now I can like be strategic and like look up here and think about like long-term business goals. Mm,
Absolutely.
so good. So, that's a really interesting point you just made around staffing. What's that been like staffing up the business? How have you found finding people, retaining people, any secret weapons?
I have a secret weapon. Her name is Rachel. She's amazing. Um, Staffing has been hard. Like transparently, we've run at an extremely high staffing cost
Mm,
this year. One, because I've had a baby, uh,
mm,
and two, because it's really hard to find good staff. Uh,
mm.
and as your business grows, I think we're up to like ten staff now. As it grows, the amount of training that you have to put in for yourself and for policies and procedures. So like
Yeah.
you don't just get to, hire an extra two staff and then not have new policies and procedures written. So that's been like probably my biggest push and struggle is like you need high cash flow to be able to employ more staff, but then you also need like someone in operations writing new policies and procedures, which is probably just an upskill and another level that I've had to reach and really be pushed to in the past 2 years, which I guess you don't really know when you start business and you suddenly start hiring people. You think like, oh, it's, I just hire people and it grows, but actually it comes with like a whole lot more problems.
Totally. And isn't that fun? Oh my God, that's so true. I always think about that. Like, and people always say, if I just hit this revenue goal or if I just hit this, then everything will be good. And I'm like, nah, the problems just get harder. The more people you have, the more money you make, like everything just levels up, even
Oh
problems.
yeah, you get more holes in your bucket.
Oh, yeah.
The bigger you get, or the more you scale, yeah, it's unlikely that you're going to be making more money, and you're going to have a lot of holes. So
Totally. Like even like thinking about profit margin, like, and like you said, you've got to have the cash flow to bring on the people, but then you bring on the people, you got to bring on more people to deliver more. Like it's just this ratcheting up sometimes. And you look at it and you're like, hang on a second, what am I doing with my life? I'm just paying, like working to feed people.
yeah, yeah, it can get like that sometimes.
So what do you love? What's your favorite part of the business?
Um, I love being able to provide this type of food for people. The
Mhm.
feedback, like I I know sometimes when you look on people's like Google reviews, you might be like, oh, why do they have 5 stars? Like no one's being honest. Um,
Yeah.
but just like if you look at our Google reviews just as an example, it's like we literally are changing people's lives in relationship to food. Uh,
Mm,
Not because you're making like, yes, it's meal prep, it's food like in a container and you likely are putting it in the microwave. But there's just a lot of people that have a lot of issues with certain types of food, dietaries. A lot of people have a lot of weight loss or gut health issues that they are trying
mm,
so hard to achieve. And then they come to us. And just because our meals are so clean and they are free from all the like nasties, you can say, like people have such a really beautiful experience. And I love that I can show people that there's a different way to eat. And I also, as much as I wouldn't say right now, because I'm going through it. But I do love the management of like the whole process of like the hustle of bringing it together. I like
Mhm.
really thrive on that as well.
Yeah, there's something kind of magical about all of the moving parts and
Mm.
kind of being able to make it work.
Yeah, like if you ask me at like 2 a.m., I would probably be like, no. Not that I'm actually sometimes I work at 2 a.m. with a baby now, but like um when it comes together, it's like really cool to like have seen just myself personally, professionally, like now, know how to do
Totally, like
cleaning.
level up, problem solve.
So yeah, like I didn't know how to do that before. So that's another favorite part for me.
That's so cool. And you just mentioned new baby. So, what challenges have being a new mom brought to business?
So many. I feel like I'm naive. I feel like I need to start a business for women to teach them that like there's a lot to do for this. Um, but so I'm a solo parent as well. So it's been like really challenging in that regard. I don't know, I just thought it would like kind of work itself out, but I
Mm,
swiftly realized like it doesn't just like, it's a whole human.
yes.
I don't know if that's like quite naive, but I wasn't really around many people with babies in business before. So I
Mm.
never saw that what that looked like. So the first couple of months were fine because they just sleep all the time. But we grew by 30% when I had a baby. So
Whoa.
yeah. So that was really hectic. I had a baby in July, and then by November we did our biggest month we've ever done.
Oh my.
And I that was really challenging because like you don't yeah, I actually didn't expect to grow like that much with not being that involved in the business because I wasn't really doing as much work. And yeah, we grew and that was like really, really challenging. I've had some like amazing people around me that have like really helped me lean on them, but
Mm,
and I don't like recommend this to moms, but like she would sleep when I would have to work.
yeah.
Like it's not really a sad thing or anything, but like that's where we were at because we were just growing even more. So
Mm.
yeah, she'd sleep and I'd work basically.
Oh my God, that's hectic.
Yeah.
How is it? So I think 6 months ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. So how are you feeling? Like, what phase are you in now? Like, are you getting any rest for yourself, or do you feel like you're coming out the other side, or is this like, no, I'm still pushing through?
I'm still pushing through to be honest. Like it's quite where we shut today was our last day of cooking for the year. So
Cool.
we're shut now until the 2nd of Jan. So like that's a bit chill. Our industry is like really slow in December, uh,
Mm,
which is, good and bad. Everyone wants cash flow, but also everyone wants a holiday. Like,
yeah.
uh, so it'll be fine, as we quiet down. But yeah, just getting into the groove of it, trying to work it all out, be a mum and a business owner and all of the above.
It's just full on, isn't it? I feel like they're just two massive full-time jobs. Like being a business owner is multiple full-time jobs. Being a mom is a full-time job. Like it's just funny how you just make it work, even though it's in, if you looked at it objectively, you'd be like, that is insane. Like there is not
Oh,
enough time in the day. But as a
yeah.
mom, mums just impress me so much because I'm like, they just do it. They just make it happen.
Yeah, it's definitely not something I'm like, shouting from the rooftops to other mums. And I
Yeah.
think, this in this like Western society in this day and age, like we're really
Mm,
like women should go back to work and it's like kind of frowned upon when women aren't like getting back into it and like they feel quite a lot
mm,
of guilt and shame for not just taking a break with their baby for a year, which like they definitely should. Um,
mm.
so I'm yeah, quite the opposite of it now. I'm like, I think I can create like one day some really epic impact to help women in business step away and have that time for themselves because yeah, it's an interesting too to know.
Yeah, and I think like you're right. I don't know if there's ever a right answer because I feel like mums get it if they do take the break, they're not like looking after the career. If they go back to the career, they're not taking the break and looking after the child. Like it's just, I think that there's like you never feel like you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm very much in the a different world where I'm like, no, I should have, you know, I should take 2 years off and be with my baby, but sometimes it just like doesn't work like that.
Yeah. What advice would you give new mums who are trying to run their businesses still?
Um, Outsource, get a VA actually, if you thought, even if you have admin staff, like that you like I have lots of admin staff, but even if you have admin staff, get yourself a personal VA and like break down the to do sort of list tasks that you're doing in your everyday that you might think are like quite minor. And this is like, and I say this on like a really minor scale. Like I know when you have admin, someone's answering your emails and stuff already, but just
Mm,
like little bits and pieces that you don't realize, whether it's connecting like, you know, two staff members together, or whether it's connecting an email chain together, or, you know, you needing suppliers to talk to this one and this one, like get a VA to do that. It took
yeah.
me maybe like 4 months in, I was like, I tasked everything I was doing down. And I wasn't doing my own personal stuff. I was like
Mm,
always hitting my tasks and my goals for um, my like admin. And then I'm like, okay, getting these giant lists of like, wow, I've written like 5 campaigns and I've like executed XYZ. And then I'd look at my personal life and
yeah.
I'd like ticked nothing off. And that's how my brain works. I need to do some dot points. And then I'm like, cool, that's all done.
Mm,
So I quickly realized after looking at this list was like task out to a VA, even if it's like those minor ones. Um,
yes.
that and then just prepare ahead of time, like more than you think. Like I gave myself a really long, substantial amount of time that I thought that I was prepared enough for, but double it. Like it sounds really people would say, like, what do you mean? Like a year's long enough to organize my business and do that. But I had that
Mm,
and or 9 months, sorry. And yeah, it wasn't enough, like at all. And so give yourself like double time.
wow. Yeah, I love that so much. I mean, that VA tip, it is so good. I think oftentimes we feel a bit guilty. Like you go, oh, it's such a tiny little task. I can do that. I can do that. But when there's 100 of them, it's like all I did today was tiny tasks, you know?
If you're repeating the tiny tasks multiple
Mm,
times a day or a week, because generally they are really simple ones that you're doing,
yeah.
actually it's a pretty massive chunk of your time that's getting like wasted going to that.
Yeah.
And you're likely to be able to outsource, and for a decent like price per hour, you would be able
Yeah.
to do that for you.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, it's actually, full circle meal prep. Like, get some help with food,
Yeah, yeah.
like what are all of those? Because I was even just thinking, like, I know we're talking kind of businessy, like admin tasks, but I was also thinking, like, it stresses me out at the end of the day going, oh shit, I've got no food to, and I like to, my husband works very long hours. Not that I don't, but I like to, have dinner ready or whatever, or at least food in the house so we can kind of deal with it together. And it's stressful. Like at the end of the day, after having a busy day, going, holy shit, I've got no food. And
Yeah.
I'm like, even just little things like that, like what are all of the things that stress you out that somebody else can take
Food,
care of,
yeah.
you know?
Oh, yeah. If I didn't have my family helping me, like someone comes and does my washing, someone does my cleaning,
Mm,
like my nan and my mum are really incredible like that. So if you, I mean, I don't want to tell someone to like go and get a cleaner or get someone to be doing their washing, because maybe you can't afford that when you're in your own business. But like there
yeah.
are lots of things that you possibly could, you know, task out. Which is like for me, even though I own a meal prep company, I still like cook a lot of my own food. Is
Mm,
just being organized for those small things. Otherwise, you kind of are sometimes picking in those 3 hours as a business owner, like what would
mm,
be the best option? Should I like meditate? Should I reply to staff? Should I eat? Like you don't really
yes.
get to, depending if like the person has a partner at home or like the partner
Mm,
might be at work. So really you'd be working by yourself every day anyway with
yeah.
no with the baby. So yeah, there's just like a few things like that which are really helpful.
Yeah, I love that so much. I think it's just so important. I do feel again like we do feel guilty sometimes for outsourcing things, but it's the thing that sets us free. Like I always say to people, like if you're building a business, you can't do everything yourself because that means you have a job. So you know, and don't get me wrong, at the start, you do have to hustle, you do have to do everything, like you've got to figure it out. But there does come a point in time where if you can't free up your time to do high value things, then your
Mm,
business isn't going to grow. It's not going to scale.
yeah,
So we've got to let go of that guilt and let go of all of the shitty little tasks that we're not really adding any value to.
yeah, absolutely.
So good. I love it. What about challenges? What do you think has been the biggest challenges for you in business over the past years?
Yes. Probably people management is really challenging. I'm really nice. Like that
Damn
sounds,
it.
like I don't mean ever nasty, but I'm very much a let's try it this way, let's try it that way, let's try it
Mm,
this way. So really just knowing my internal boundaries, which I'm still working on daily, of like, okay, enough's enough. Like they don't need to learn how to train for the 10th time a different way. Like it's just not
yeah.
working. Like you don't,
Yeah.
and I don't mean, you don't need to be nasty to them, but like it's just like, hey, this is like not for us anymore.
Yeah.
My own boundaries there have been a real struggle with like really just trying to make like, I don't know, I'm an empath. So it's like, making sure everyone's happy. So that's been
Yeah. Of
really challenging. And then COVID, that was most businesses in COVID, but
course. Yeah.
we started off like when I was 22, I think I made like 200K my first year, like as
Yeah.
a 22-year-old. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, this is
This
crazy.
is the best.
This is
Yeah.
cool. Like 22, no idea what you're doing. Then the preceding years, so that was like 2018. Then we had 2019, smashed it, grew by like another 40% or something like that. And I, you know, building all this money, growing and everything. And then COVID came and we like lost 70% in a day.
Yeah.
So that has been like a challenge, and we now are turned profitable again, and we're now like back on top, and we've now done our biggest months and everything yet. But it's taken from 2021, it's taken 2 years, like essentially like starting from scratch.
Yeah.
So I rebranded everything in a way, and
Mm,
forgetting that I didn't forget that I had a successful business like from the day it launched, but I did
mm.
feel as though I had to like restart again, like from the end of COVID.
I'm super interested in this because I feel like that happened to us as well. And I feel like I went through this phase of I have been working in this fucking business for so many years and I'm starting from scratch. Like
Yeah.
this,
Oh,
it
I've
was
cried so
soul
many times.
destroying.
Yeah. Oh, I have cried days on days on days about it, where I'm just like,
Mm,
because it's your business is not a failure. It's just that you have had to adjust to a new economy, and we've come out of it. It's such like everything's tripled in price. So
mm,
you've then had to create your business and then like be even more strategic about it. Like, and
yes.
I never spent a single dollar on marketing before COVID. We were all word
Mm,
of mouth, and we were doing X amount of money. And now, suddenly we spend all this money on marketing. And because
yeah.
you have to like, I don't know, since COVID, you have to do business a bit differently a little bit.
I think so too. And I think it is weird. Like, so Scrunch, which is my main
Yeah.
business, it's a influencer platform, digital marketing agency vibe. And yeah, like it used to be all face-to-face meetings. I was on a plane twice a week. Like so I was in Brisbane at the time.
Yeah.
And it was very much you have to be in Sydney and Melbourne. So I had to be down there face to face meeting people. Then the world shuts down. We do everything via Zoom. But then it's like to get in front of those people, I now have to advertise for them
Yeah.
to find me and then to do something on Zoom. Like, so yeah, the whole dynamic of sales and marketing has changed so much in the last few years.
Yeah. It's, yeah, completely new. And I'm still trying to wrap my head around it, and I'm trying to work out if it's like a shadow of mine. But all these new marketing people and everything that are now on like online and Instagram, and I'm
Mm.
like, I sometimes I feel like businesses that have sort of built themselves from the ground up are like maybe struggling because there's all these new like pop-up ones on like Instagram
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
I know. And it's really interesting because I mean, I've had even, ex-employees start their own agency, like in the same vein. And then, people fresh out of like uni starting their own thing. And I'm like, wow, like anyone, like literally today, anybody can just
Yeah.
start a business tomorrow around, in competition to you. Doesn't matter what industry you're in. Like, and then, yeah, you're right. Show up on Instagram and say, hey, this is what we're doing. Buy from us. It's full on.
Yeah, it's fully changed, and I think that's what a main thing I've been like wrapping my head around with a challenge.
Mm,
Like, um, you get a lot of head noise where you're like, okay, should I be doing that? Or like sometimes I'm like, should
mm.
I dance on a reel on TikTok? Like,
No,
is that
veto, veto.
that's the struggles that has come after COVID, I feel, where you'll like
Mm,
question or doubt yourself and be like, is that what I need to do? Like to sell me?
yeah,
Like, so that's been
yeah.
a challenge for me with readjusting out of COVID and you know,
Mm,
turning profitable again, but with, less sleep than ever before, which is like, not what people, that's not the goal in life. So that's a
mm,
pretty big challenge I'm facing right now is like, it's not really sustainable to hustle, but my
mm.
mentor, my mentor who also had a meal prep company, she said it took her 10 years. So I'm like, okay,
Gotta keep going, gotta hit that 10-year mark.
three more to go.
Oh my God, that's crazy. But it's so true, right? Like, and I think, back to the point about like watching other people on Instagram, sometimes there is this narrative that it's like, you can be a millionaire tomorrow if you just dance on reels. And it's like, no, it does take years. Like, it is years of trial and testing and optimizing and figuring out what works. It is not overnight.
Well, that's what I have to remind myself a lot is like not to do the comparison thing, not to be
Mhm.
like, okay, where like my business is not the same as someone else on Instagram that's like doing 10K months or something like that. It's like, there's we pay wages, we pay staff, like we
Yes.
we're getting tax bills like sent to us left, right, and center. Like
Mm.
um I have to do the
Yeah, no
remind.
one's talking about that on Instagram, are they?
So I'm like, I have to do that self-checking reminder of like,
Yeah.
yeah, like that's great that, you can sell something on Instagram, but you are in the longevity of like business growth that you're trying to,
Yes.
part of. Yeah.
Yeah, it is full on. We need to start an Instagram account about all the shit things about business, that no one talks about. But it
Yeah.
is funny, even like that 10K months, it's like that. When did that exist before? Like this idea of 10K months, 100K years, million, like these random milestones that there's like people latch onto. I can show you how to get there. Like this,
Yeah.
I've got the blueprint to show you how to do 10K months. It's like, it's really, yeah, it just blows my mind. Like in the last couple of years, I've just see that from so many people on Instagram.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah. I guess it's just like a new business model that
Yeah.
a new way to do business that people, you know, follow on
Clearly
from.
it's working. Obviously it's working for people.
Yeah, it is.
I love it so much. So what's next for you in 2024?
Um, we're
More
starting.
sleep?
No, so for business, we're in the process of starting capital raising. I think
Oh, cool.
I say I think because I think I need to think on it more. But yeah, that's the road we're about to go down. We've consecutively created profitable months where we're able to show investors that, this is a really viable product. And looking into that world. So I've just sort of been getting myself into, yeah, like into all things investment
The
and
black hole, yes.
yeah,
Mm,
so that's next for us, I believe. I'm sort of just like in the process of working all that out and how I want to go
cool.
about it.
Yeah.
And then the other big goal is connect directly to farmers. So
Oh,
uh,
wow.
yeah, I would love to be able to be part of like a zero waste movement where we're actually getting food direct from farmers to our kitchen where we're cooking for. So we are just making less of a footprint. That would be like incredible. So that's sort of my next to do as well.
Oh my God, amazing. It sounds like it's going to be another big successful year.
We hope.
So good. Okay, so let's wrap on one last question that I love to leave our Spark community with. So, reflecting on your time in business, what would be one piece of advice that you would give to another woman in business to support her on her journey?
Oh, I have like 10 things.
That's all right. That's all right. You can give as many as you like.
I'm a really, like you said, I'm a massive fan of outsourcing. That was probably my one of my strong points when I started business, is outsource as much as you can. And like don't feed into the fear of like you can't afford it or it's not possible, because you can literally put something on Upwork and get someone to help you for $8 an hour. And I'm not saying that's always the best way to go. You should definitely you know, look to employ people as well. But
Mm.
if you are someone that doesn't really have any money, there are platforms out there that you can use to like outsource or connect with other practitioners in your industry. That was a really profound way that we were able to grow. Was we were said that we were nutrition like certified and approved, but we outsourced and then contracted and then took like then we build them. So then that way we were able to,
That's so
run.
good.
Yeah. So I went, rather than trying to do it all yourself, someone else can help you, and some other woman is likely, and these were all women I worked with, they can make money as well. And
Yes.
you're both making money off the product that you're selling. So that's a really valuable, I guess, part that I did for my business that I would advise any other woman to do, is outsource as much as you can. And then task yourself in time blocks as well. It's really boring. I feel like people want this really profound business advice, and I'm like, you really need to task yourself everything that you're doing, and time track and time stamp everything.
It's so funny though, because the boring stuff is the stuff that works. You know,
Yeah,
I agree. I remember when I first started out in business and I like discovered all of the things like the Tony Robbins and the 4 hour work week. And I was like, oh my God, my mind is blown. But like 10 years later, I'm like, nah, it's exactly what you said. Get people to do things for you that cost less than you.
yeah.
Like time block, like rest, look after yourself, pay yourself. Like it's just these like handful of things that will keep you sane and actually in business and profitable and growing.
Oh, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And write your policies and procedures as you go.
Yeah.
Another big one for people is like, don't leave yourself to the last minute and then get yourself in sticky situations or anything like that. Because as your business grows, if it does scale, like you need that from the start.
Yeah, that's so true. Like contracts, whether it's employment contracts, whether it's suppliers, whether it's, customers, just anything like that, policies and procedures far out. You can get caught out. I have.
No, it just doesn't, yeah, it's not like fun business advice, I guess, but it's just like you
Mm,
end up spending a lot of money on all these things if you do it like 2 years down the track, or even if,
yes.
depending on how fast your business grows,
Yeah.
uh, if you are doing it and backtracking, which often happens, and it's like so fine if it does happen, but if you are outsourcing, generally you can get that VA to task what they're doing at the same time. So then you're
Yes.
doing two birds with one stone. So you're like, someone's tasking you and writing your policies and procedures at the same time, which is like invaluable.
Yeah, that is such good advice. And I love to. I remember when I first started Scrunch, we didn't do that. And like all the first employees, we were all flying by the seat of our pants. And then when we realized we had to grow up and implement these things, they were like, hated it. And I was like, nah, you just got to set expectations with people from day one. This is how we operate here. Even
Yeah.
if it's just like their employee number one, it's like set that standard from day one.
I think that, yeah, that can be hard to do, but totally what I would tell women to do if I was starting sort of again.
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much, Jordan. You are incredible.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your journey, story, insights, wisdom, all of the things with us today. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.